that in Cuba and other Caribbean countries, there's that Afro history of religion and culture. So they and their music reflects that. So the dancing and the improvisation on low drums, for example, in Cuba, that comes from Yoruba traditions that became the Santeria religion and culture, right? And in Europe, the classical music, which came from the Christian background, everyone's looking up in heaven for God. And so the music is high melodies, harmonies supporting high melodies. Think of
Mm,
when we think about the Hallelujah chorus, the piece just keeps going up
mm.
and up and up, trying to get to God, right? But in Cuba, it's down on the ground and reaching to the ocean. And so you have this different mentality when you bring these
Wow.
two styles together. I find that really interesting because whenever you're doing art, whether it's comedy or painting, you're looking for contrast, right? Because the contrast is what makes it interesting, throws us off our game. So I like that in this project
So cool.
you kind of have the ultimate contrast tools. You can mix what is this great like dance music and feels from a totally different cultural perspective, and classical music, which or romantic music, or just let's say European art music in general. It is typically music for listening and sitting and thinking, and there's an intellectual component. Of course, there's an intellectual component in Cuban music too, but generally speaking, you have the music is from really, really different cultural backgrounds, and that contrast for me is kind of what I'm always trying to, I suppose, manipulate to get good results.
Incredible, incredible. I love the way you're describing this, how, Western music that was influenced by Christianity was looking up, 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 and how
Yeah,
the Cuban music was rooted in like this earthiness, this sort of like
right.
guttural, like this is coming from some deeper, maybe even pagan place within our souls to
Mm-hmm.
create. And I love that. But you decided to meet them in the middle. You brought the heavens back down to earth, and you brought the earth up to
Yeah,
the heavens.
yeah.
And you did you mixed the composers of Mozart, you did
Yeah.
Beethoven,
Mm-hmm.
Saint-Saëns.
Yeah.
What was the what else? You did
I think we did a little Bach as
horse
well. Yeah,
Bach.
yeah, yeah.
Um, those four, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we did there. Yep, Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, and Saint-Saëns. Right, the rumba combo.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. I want to make sure we play a little bit of that for everyone today too. Maybe we can go to that right now. Let's listen to a little bit of the macabre. It's so awesome. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was amazing music. I wanted to ask you a question, Joachim, like
Yes.
about this idea of why you chose those four composers. And you don't have to get too specific if you don't want to, but it's more about like, these are some of the titans of classical music. Why those pieces? Was it, what came first? The rhythm? Okay, I want to do something with this rumba or this kind of, or was it like, I think I hear Cuban music in this Beethoven. I think I hear a
Yeah.
lacrimosa something here with the Mozart. How did it start? Was it the Cuban music first, or was it the classical music and then combining it? What was the sort of process of
Hmm.
that compositional aspect?
It's a bit of an elimination process. Like I have lots of arrangements. My computer my hardware hard drive is like full of half finished arrangements. Um, there's so many
Sounds like Sam.
yeah. There's so many Rachmaninoff pieces that have died on the vine while trying to turn them into Cuban arrangements. I think I'll get there eventually. But what happens
So
a
you're
lot,
experimenting a lot.
experimenting all the time. I
Yeah.
think you just have to have fun. And
Mm.
one a thing with the Beethoven original, let's call that like the prototype. The Beethoven Havana was the prototype for the project. Uh, the harmonic content is simple enough that it can feel almost like a Cuban folk song, which is often just three
Mm.
chords, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So it's simple, it's basically a theme and variations. So it's really repetitive in a certain way. It's repetitive enough that I think that's kind of what makes that a hit, actually, and why it's been used in movies so much because it's pretty accessible. It's a little like Bolero's Ravel. Ravel's Bolero, because it's like people hear it and it's just a catchy tune that
Yeah.
people won't forget.
Yes.
So I felt like that's kind of that ultimately folk songs are like that too. They're just a catchy tune that aren't even written down for generations, right? So if you have that aspect in the classical music, it's helpful because I feel like it'll feel a little bit more natural. So something like Danse Macabre, um, it is a little bit more of a different kind of composition. So the arrangement became something different. But let's take a composer like Stravinsky, Rite of Spring. That's hard to adapt in this project without potentially disturbing the spirit
Got
of the
it.
original thing, because like Stravinsky already did this to his own music, right? Like
Right.
it's rhythmic, it's colorful,
Yeah.
the orchestration is stretched. I mean, Rite of Spring's 100 years old. It still
Right.
feels cutting edge, right?
Oh
So-
yeah. He used
so-
Afro-Cuban. He used Cuban. He used not African. He used
Yeah.
African rhythms, drumming, and all kinds of stuff in that piece.
Exactly. So there's nothing for me to really add by adapting, like, let's say, the Rite of Spring. There are some other Stravinsky pieces that could certainly be adapted. I've been playing with Petrushka, and I'm not sure if I have it yet, but that might end up on a record.